muscle cars everyone wants. Then there are muscle cars nobody wants anymore. Some of the most famous names from the 1960s now sit rotting in garages, unsold and unwanted. These aren't project cars or barn finds worth saving. These are mistakes. Metal that costs more to own than it'll ever return. Parts don't exist. Resale value keeps falling. The market has moved on, and these 10 cars got left behind. Some were never good to begin with. Others aged so badly that time exposed every flaw they tried to hide. And wait until you see number 4. It's worse than you could ever imagine. Number 10, 1968 AMC Rebel SST. AMC was struggling in 1967 and nearly collapsed. By 1968, they were desperate for a comeback. The Rebel SST was supposed to be that car. It had a new look, a V8 engine, and a convertible top. It was AMC's last convertible. The Rebel SST couldn't compete. The standard engine was a gutless inline-6. The SST upgrade added a V8, but it still couldn't match a Chevelle or a GTO. AMC only sold 823 Rebel SST convertibles. Nobody wanted it then. Nobody wants it now. Parts are nearly impossible to find. The suspension is soft, the brakes are terrible, and the steering feels disconnected. In 2026, this car offers nothing. Number 9, 1969 Ford Torino GT. The 1969 Torino GT had the look, fastback body, racing stripes, aggressive stance, and a 302 cubic inch V8. It came with power steering, power brakes, and an under-dash 8-track player. In 1969, that was impressive. In 2026, it's a nightmare. 8-track players are useless. Most systems don't work anymore, and fixing them costs more than the car is worth. The V8 drinks fuel like it's free. Gas prices in 2026 make driving this car a punishment. The Torino GT rides on ancient drum brakes that take forever to stop. The suspension is mushy. The steering is slow. If anything breaks, you're hunting junkyards for months. Paint jobs often hide rust and body filler. The 1969 Torino GT isn't a muscle car anymore. It's a liability. Number 8, 1967 Dodge Coronet 440. Dodge offered multiple Coronet models in 1967. The 440 came with a 383 cubic inch V8, but Dodge never installed the 440 cubic inch engine in the Coronet 440 from the factory. The name says 440, but the engine says 383. That confusion kills value. The wiring in these cars is a disaster. Charging systems fail, lights flicker, voltage drops randomly. Unless someone rewires the car, it won't run reliably. Air conditioning either doesn't exist or doesn't work. Parts are scarce, including trim pieces and factory badges. Repairs turn into expensive custom jobs. The car is heavy and slow. The steering is numb. Fuel economy is abysmal. The 1967 Coronet 440 looks clean in photos, but owning one brings nothing but frustration. Number 7, 1968 Mercury Montego MX. Mercury built the Montego MX in 1968 to compete in the mid-size market. It had shiny trim and a V8 option, but it never stood out. The Montego MX tried to be upscale without being luxurious. It tried to be sporty without being fast. It got stuck in the middle. Collectors don't want middle. The engines were adequate at best. The ride was soft and the handling was heavy. Driving one today feels like steering a boat. Brakes are weak and the car wallows over bumps. Parts are almost impossible to find, and restoring one is expensive and pointless. Comfort features like air conditioning and FM radio were options in 1968, and most don't work now. In 2026, buyers want efficiency and reliability. This car offers neither. Number 6, 1966 Chevrolet Chevelle 300 Deluxe. The 1966 Chevelle 300 Deluxe is one of the most misleading muscle cars on the market. It looks good in photos, but it was the cheapest Chevelle Chevy ever built. This wasn't a Super Sport or an SS396. It was the economy model with a 194 cubic inch inline-6 and a 2-speed Powerglide automatic. That combo was painfully slow even in 1966. Some owners swap in stroker V8s, upgraded suspensions, and Willwood brakes. They add Bluetooth, leather, and big wheels. By the time they're done, they've spent sports car money on a car that started life with a rubber floor and a split bench seat. The frame is old and the chassis is outdated. Parts for original components are hard to find. The ride is stiff and loud. The Chevelle 300 Deluxe doesn't hold value. It costs too much to build. If you're getting value from this breakdown, hit that like button and subscribe. Number 5. 1969 Plymouth Satellite. The 1969 Plymouth Satellite had size, chrome, and big taillights. It looked the part, but the appeal falls apart fast. The car sits on a 116-inch wheelbase, making it clumsy in tight spaces. Parking is difficult and handling is vague. Even with a 380 or 383 V8, the Satellite feels slow. The smaller 6-cylinder engines barely move it. Inside, the seats were foam or vinyl, and most had bench seating. Air conditioning was rare. Power windows were rare. Driving one feels like sitting in a noisy metal box with no comfort. The real problem is value. Collectors want Roadrunners and GTXs. The Satellite gets ignored. Plymouth built over 38,000 hardtops plus thousands more. Number 4. 1965 Ford Galaxie 500 XL. The 1965 500 XL was big, flashy, and chrome-heavy. It had stacked headlights, long doors, bucket seats, and a V8 engine. On paper, it sounds good. In reality, it's an absolute disaster. This car is enormous. Parking is a chore. Driving in traffic is stressful. The body floats over bumps and leans hard into turns. Even with NASCAR-inspired suspension, it feels clumsy. The engine options range from a 289 V8 making around 200 horsepower to a rare 427 big block. The 289 burns fuel like crazy and delivers mediocre performance. The 427 is rare, hard to maintain, and can't pass modern emissions testing in many states. Inside, the Galaxie had padded seats, but that's where the luxury ends. No airbags. Most models didn't even have power windows. The Cruise-O-Matic transmission shifts slowly. The radio only works if you can find old AM stations. Parts are nearly impossible to source. Chrome trim costs a fortune. Broken pieces are impossible to match. For drivers in 2026, it's a problem on wheels. Number 3. 1968 Pontiac Tempest. The 1968 Pontiac Tempest had a long hood, unique taillights, and a sporty appearance. It came with rear armrests with ashtrays, a deluxe steering wheel, and an anti-theft buzzer. The Sprint version offered a 250 cubic inch overhead cam inline 6. That sounds interesting until you realize how slow and heavy this car actually is. The 6-cylinder engine can't keep up with modern traffic. Gas mileage is terrible, and gas prices in 2026 make this car painful to drive. The suspension feels rough and floaty. The car doesn't corner well. Driving it on busy streets is tiring and unsafe. Inside, vinyl seats wear out quickly. There's no air conditioning, no power windows, and no modern safety features. In 2026, it's just outdated. Number 2. 1966 Dodge Polara 500. The 1966 Polara 500 looks fun at first glance. Big bucket seats, chrome trim, a black vinyl top, and sporty hubcaps. But look closer and the problems multiply. This car has a reconstructed title, meaning it was damaged so badly in the past that it was declared unsafe for the road. It was driven through water, which caused rust, wiring damage, and hidden structural problems. Even though it was repaired, the reconstructed title follows the car forever. That makes it nearly impossible to sell or insure properly. The body has issues. The red paint shows dry spots and Bondo patches. The panels aren't smooth. The convertible top might not even be original. Inside, the odometer shows 33,924 miles, but there's no way to verify if that's accurate. One of the clocks had to be unplugged because it drained the battery. The 3-speed automatic transmission isn't even the correct one for the car. It's from a different year. Between the mismatched parts, unknown mileage, water damage, and reconstructed title, the Polara 500 has lost all credibility. Number 1. 1967 Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme. The final car on this list might surprise you. The 1967 Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme was supposed to be something special. Only 5,002 were built with the Turnpike Cruiser package. But that package wasn't about performance. It was built for fuel economy and low emissions. Instead of power, it came with a 2-barrel carburetor on a 400 cubic inch V8. Collectors today want power or a racing heritage. The Cutlass Supreme has neither. Underneath, the floor pans have invasive rust and need major work. That means expensive repairs that will never be recovered in resale value. Inside, the air conditioning doesn't work because it's been disconnected. The original R12 system is outdated and expensive to replace. This car is rare, but rare doesn't always mean valuable. In 2026, the 1967 Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme is expensive to fix, slow to drive, and impossible to sell. These 10 muscle cars prove that not every classic is worth saving. Some were poorly built from the start, others aged so badly that time exposed every weakness. In 2026, the market has spoken. These cars cost more to own than they'll ever return. Parts don't exist. Performance is weak. Resale value keeps dropping. If you're looking for a project car or a smart investment, avoid these completely. Which car on this list surprised you the most? Drop a comment below. If you learned something new, hit the like button. And don't forget to subscribe for more automotive truth like this.